Hey everyone, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Monthly Meta. It is the first Monday of the month, and it's February, so we're going to be looking at February's meta for Blood Bowl. We're going to be looking at what is legal, so what's allowed in your games of Blood Bowl, whether you're running a league or whether you're going to tournaments. We're going to look at what's been brought in by Games Workshop and is now available for you guys to play with. And we're also going to look at what's lethal and see just which teams are performing well at tournaments. Now, there's not a huge amount of tournaments going on at the moment because of lockdown, but there is a few. And they are quite interesting. So after we've looked at who's been performing well, we are going to look at 3 tournaments that are coming up in the next month around the world, so we can kind of get to grips with how Blood Bowl 2020 is shaking up in the meta. So let's have a look at what's legal. So January was a pretty calm month for Blood Bowl. We haven't had any more releases. What has happened is we've got the pre-release for Skrull and for Gretchen. So those are both coming in the next week. So that's quite cool. They are £19 each from Forge World, so not a cheap investment. Skrull is cool, and I think we'll see him at tournaments. Gretchen, I think, is a lovely miniature that is going to probably take the place of the Wraiths in the Blood Bowl team. But some really lovely models. No rules changes so far this month, so that's pretty cool. So currently at the moment in this format, we've got the Blood Bowl rulebook, we've got Spike 11, we've got the Teams of Legend PDF from Games Workshop, we've got the Akhorne star player, who I've lost because he's tiny, which is the little squirrel player that you get with the Tree Man. He's got his own special card. That's available in White Dwarf 458, and you can get an online copy of that where it will have the rules in as well. So Akhorne is available all the time. The NAF have also released their tournament guidelines, and in that we've got 2 more teams that they've presented that have always been around for the community, which are the Slan team, which is basically pogo stick everywhere, and the Corn team, which is Frenzy. So if you are looking for Frogs and Frenzy, 2 reasonably balanced additional teams for Blood Bowl, the NAF tournament guidelines there will have those teams in. There's the big FAQ from Games Workshop, or designers commentary. We've had a look through that in a couple of previous videos. It's kind of solidified a few of our questions about Blood Bowl 2020. It's not done at all. We've still got some questions and we've still got some figuring out to do, but it's a good start. And now they're going to be doing an FAQ twice a year. I think the next one's in May. It will give us a chance to kind of challenge and clear up things. The other thing that I failed to mention last time, so a couple of you guys flagged this up, so I appreciate that, is the team and special card packs, which is ironic because I have one of them right here. They are also available. They are kind of optional. The cards, obviously just the stats for the players, and special play cards are in the 2020 rulebook, but obviously the Dwarf one, the Skaven one, they're both out, and the Necromantic one is out now as well. So as Games Workshop carries on, those cards are going to become available if you're allowing special play cards in your events, in your leagues, which I do kind of recommend from a league point of view, maybe not so much in tournament. It's a lot of team value, and they can be incredibly swingy. So whether you include them or not is down to you, but they are around and available. So that is what is legal in Blood Bowl 2020 at the moment. Now let's have a look and see what is lethal. So the winner so far of Blood Bowl 2020 organised play is the Tomb Kings. So the Tomb Kings is the Khemri team of old that's been brought back in the Blood Bowl Team of Legend PDF that you can download on the Games Workshop website. Should be the link below if you can't be bothered to go and find it. Basically, we had a look at 3 tournaments that were happening last month. 2 of them have registered their results. Unfortunately, the 3rd one hasn't, and it was in Austria, so I'm not sure if it took place at all. But both the other events were won by Tomb Kings, which was a complete surprise for everybody. Hey, they overperformed. We even had a look at one of the rosters. So James Luft sent us the roster of the Tomb King team that won from the Dogs of War tournament. Apparently that coach has just been playing Khemri forever and finally top tabled it and did really, really well. The list was really standard. It was 4 Tomb Guardians, 2 Blitzers, 2 Throwers. I think the Thrower simply had block and leader, so there was no stat up craziness. The Tomb Guardians got upgraded with Mighty Blow and Guard so they could actually do some damage. It was really cool to see and was not expecting at all. So when we did the power rankings for the Blood Bowl teams, we put Tomb Kings right the way down there at 22. I think we might have to update our power rankings at some point because I think Tomb Kings have overperformed and they deserve to be a little bit higher. So that was pretty cool to see that we were not expecting Tomb Kings to outperform. I still don't think they're tier 1 nonsense, but I think they can perform, and that is very exciting because this is one of the teams I really want to see Games Workshop update this year. But maybe they don't need a boost. Before we move on and have a look at tournaments, we just want to put a little reminder out there for everybody to stay safe. The world is still a pretty dangerous place, and nothing is as important as keeping everybody safe as much as possible. If you are lucky enough to be in a place where you're allowed to play Blood Bowl tournaments, go out of your way to be extra cautious and extra polite to people at the moment. That means masks, that means distance, that means being respectful. Because the sooner the world goes back to normal, the sooner these episodes become way bigger with more tournaments. Talking of tournaments, let's have a look at the first of 3 that we're going to look at today that's coming up in the next month. So our first victim is going to be Snowbowl XVIII. So this one is running in France. It's a first 2-day tournament that we have had a look at. So this is going to be taking place on the 6th and 7th of February. So the info is on the NAF website, which I'll link below, like last month. But I had to do a bit of digging to find out a little bit more about it. It is 2 days and it is 5 rounds. So 2 day, 5 rounds. That's the biggest tournament we've seen so far. Team values. So we've got 4 tiers here. So there's only 3 on screen because what they've done is they've got a tier 1, a tier 1.5, a tier 2 and a tier 3. So basically, they've put Necromantic and Imperial Nobility at tier 1.5. So they've been boosted up out of tier 2, which is going to be really interesting because Necro, I can see, they're pretty good if you've got enough cash to buy their positionals. Imperial Nobility, we weren't expecting to be one of the top performing teams. Definitely kind of put them in the middle there. So I wonder what they've seen that makes them want to kind of boost them up half a rank. Anyway, let's have a breakdown. So tier 1, Dark Elf, Dwarf, Human, Lizards, Old World, Orcs, Undead, Skaven, Wood Elves, Amazons, Chaos Dwarves, and Norse. And at that level, you get 1.1 million build, so 1,100,000. At 1.5, so Necromantic and the Imperial Nobility, they also get 1.1 million. They do get slightly more skills. We'll come to that in a second. Tier 2, Underworld, Nurgle, Elven Union, Chaos Chosen, Chaos Pact, Black Orc Team, High Elves, Tomb Kings, Vampires, Khorne and Slann. They're all tier 2. They get 1.15, so 1,150,000 gold. So 50k more, which is normally going to allow you to boost up a couple of players, maybe take a spare or boost up into an extra reroll to give that team a little bit more consistency, because I think you'll agree those teams kind of just need a little bit extra to compete with some of the others. And then you've got the best tier of all, tier 3, Goblins, Halflings, Ogres and Snotlings. These guys get 1,200, so 1.2 million. So you are basically going to be able to buy all the nonsense you want if you are running the stunty teams, which is pretty cool. So given some of the star players that they've got access to, if you want to know more, have a look at some of our tournament rosters videos. That's going to be really good. That means that they're going to be able to compete in these tournaments. And they get a boost to the skill allowance as well. So, skills here. There's 30, 36 or 48 SPP up for grabs. Tier 1 get 30 SPP. Tier 1.5 get 36 SPP. Tier 2 get 36 SPP. And Tier 3 get 48 SPP. So, Necromantic and Imperial Nobility get the same money as a tier 1 team, but the same skills as a tier 2 team. I really like the balance there. I think that's a simple way of structuring it. I am still intrigued to find out what they know that we don't, that makes Nobility worthy of being halfway towards a Lizardman team. So that's quite interesting. So if you look at the breakdown of this, tier 3 with 1,200k plus 48 SPP, they're going to be able to rock a lot, and those tier 2 teams are as well. This is quite cool though. My hand's gone missing. So 6 SPP for a primary skill, 12 SPP for a double skill, or 3 SPP for a random skill. I really like the way they've ruled this. It's get a new one each game, roll the dice in front of your new opponent. So we talked about this, I think, on the podcast, and agreed that this is probably the best way to do random skills. So you take a team, you've got 3 SPP, you can give random skills to people, and then you roll them in front of your opponent. Now, what it doesn't say is that you have to choose, like, if you get general and strength, whether it's going to be a general or a strength. So you can kind of go up against your opponent and go, he's got a random skill, and it's going to be strength, because let's see if we can't roll guard, mighty blow, and do some damage. Or, you know, maybe I'll get wrestle or tackle and take out the elves and stuff like that. So that's quite cool. I like that. I think it's pretty cool, and it kind of encourages a counterplay between your opponent. My biggest fear, though, is that those tier 1 teams are going to end up taking maybe 2 primary skills and then 5 or 6 randoms. Because you're going to add a lot of time on that, and it's also going to you're going to have added kind of analysis paralysis there when you are looking at your players and you're going, right, this game he's got wrestle, last game he had kick. I think you're going to have to be real careful there and make sure that you don't mess it up. But you got 5 rounds, so you get plenty of opportunity to get confused with the randoms. I like that. It does add that element, and I think it's a really good way to get to learn the teams. And we talked about this with a couple of the last tournaments where there was like random stats and stuff you could have. This allows you to kind of experience the random skills, and I think once you've played a 2-day tournament, you'll definitely know whether you want a random skill on that there player or not. So 5 rounds, random skills, skill buy on top of variable TV format. This is going to be one to watch because I think we're going to see over 5 rounds definitely the cream of the crop come to the top. Tournament number 2, please. We have got the Coliseum Cup. So this one is going to be on the 13th of February in Florida, USA. So this is quite a cool one. Basically, it's a 1-day 3-game with variable team value and team value purchase for skills and stats. So tier 1 has got 1.1, tier 2 has got 1.5, and tier 3 has got 1.2. So if you want to go and look at some of our tournament rosters, we do 1.1 million build and 1.2 million build. So if you are tier 1 or tier 3, you're going to have exactly what you want, and the rest of the teams you can just kind of add 50k to one or take 50k from another. So please, if you're planning on going to a tournament like this, have a look at some of our tournament rosters. They will definitely get your mind going with some cool stuff, and it's great fun anyway. Right, so this one is very similar to the tournament we saw last time round, which was primary skills bought for 40k, secondary skills for primaries for 20, secondary for 40, AV 10k, movement passing 20k, agility 40k, and strength 80k. And that all goes in with your team value. So if you are a tier 1 team, if you're taking Wood Elves, basically you get to spend 1100 including skills and stats. So your stunty teams are going to be able to max out at kind of 1200 cash, but you do also have to fit your skills in there, so they're not going to get as much of a boost, but they do have more flexibility. So this one is very similar to the one we saw last time, and the Khemri won that one, which was really intriguing. So I'm not sure if we'll see Khemri take it again, but hey, they're kind of 2 for 2 so far in Blood Bowl 20. I like this system for the most part. I think being able to take the stats is potentially a bit much, because you can just fix a team. So nobility, awesome, great fun, but for 20k they can just make their thrower as good as the human thrower. Alright, it doesn't have sure hands, but as good as the human thrower, and it does mean that some of those throwy teams can just boost that PA to 1+ without basically any downside. So it's potentially a bit powerful when you can take accurate, or you can just boost PA, and also movement being able to be boosted for 20k piece is pretty useful as well. So definitely one to watch there. Just let me have a flick through the rules. Only teams listed in core rules, teams of legend and Akhorne and Slan. Fantastic. Star players with 11 players already as per the rulebook, and only star players listed in the 2020 rulebook and Spike 11 may be taken. So no Akhorne in this format. Probably fine, because I think with a lot of these tournaments we're going to see early on, I think it's going to be coaches exploring their teams, especially in these ones where you can buy stats as well. In the last one you can get random skills, so you can kind of spend 2 days with a team and find out what random skills work. And if you're running it in the league then, or when BB3 lands, you'll have a good idea of actually, no, it is worth taking a random strength on a troll. I played it at a tournament and 3 out of 5 games it was wicked, so I'm happy with those results. In this one, It will help you decide whether or not it's worth saving up to go for that PA, that plus passing skill, whether it's worth saving up to get that one extra movement on your War Dancer. Spoiler alert, it probably is. So this is the Coliseum Cup. I am very much looking forward to seeing how this one comes out as well. I can't imagine we're going to see Khemri take it again. But hey, who knows? Oh yes, we have got Blood Bowl 7s in Blood Bowl 2020. I know this is something that you guys have probably heard about on our podcast a couple of times now. We're very excited for this because Blood Bowl 7s is just a great way of playing Blood Bowl. Now, this tournament is being run by George Christodoulou, and he is an awesome guy who loves 7s almost, but potentially more than I do, which is pretty cool. So he is actually running the... He's running a 7 series over in Australia, and this is going to be the first one in that event. So it is Blood Bowl 7's format. Do we have a video out about 7s at the moment? If we don't right now, it will be out soon. Or you can just listen to the podcast, and yeah, we did it on the podcast. You can check in with the podcast to see what we think of Blood Bowl 7s in Blood Bowl 2020. So, one day, 5 games, because 7s takes about an hour to play. So you're going to get 5 games in. Team value wise, he's gone for 650 to 700k. So 650 is all the teams. Now in 7s, you take a minimum of 7 players to a maximum of 11, and only 0 to 4 of those can be non-linemen. So you've got a lot of clever builds to go here. This is another reason I love 7s. 700k, there are some teams that are essentially boosted Black Orcs without Black Orcs, so just Trolls and Goblin Bruisers. I like the idea of that one. Goblin teams, Halfling teams, Ogre teams, Lizardman teams without Sauruses, so just a Kroxigor and Skinks. Again, I think that's going to be real potent, especially in 7s. Ooh, that's dirty. And Underworld without Skaven as well also count into that 700k. Interestingly, there's no Snotlings there. I wonder if they're supposed to be in the stunty bit. They're not in the standard teams as well. I know George had his concerns about swarming, so potentially they're just missing from the list on the NAF website. Never mind. So starting cash is spent to purchase players, skills, and inducements. So we've talked about players, we've talked about linemen, we've talked about specialists. TV purchase for skills, 0 to 3 primary, that is it. Every team can take up to 3 skills. They can only take primary skills, and they've got to buy them. And if you guys have played 7s, the tier 1 teams of old kind of struggle to get what you want them to get at 600 anyway, so having the ability to flex up in players or flex up in skills is going to be really, really cool, and it means that the stunty teams are definitely going to be able to purchase a couple of primary skills. But it's only a few primary skills, and you've only got 0 to 4 positionals, so it still means that Blood Bowl 7s will be really fast games. What we are going to do is have a quick look at the rules pack now. So we like to have a look at some of the rules packs that are out there, just to kind of give you guys a bit of guidance as to what could be coming. So this is a really well done one as well. So this is the Sydney Bowl 7s one. So NAF sanctioned, 5 rounds, resurrection, round robin pairings. Round robin is interesting, but I suppose if you've got 6 men pods, that works out nice. You've got contact information there. Sorry, George, just put that out on the internet. You've got fees, you've got breakdowns, you've got the schedule here. So round 1, round 2, round 3. They are all about an hour long, which is plenty of time, and he's budgeted 15 minutes in between rounds as well. I like that. There won't be a scheduled lunch break, so it's suggested to bring your own lunch. There's 15 minutes between rounds. Hey, do not worry, Blood Bowl 7s can be as quick as kind of 35-40 minutes. Most games 45-50 minutes, so you'll have about 20 minutes in between rounds most of the time to find your next opponent and just have a bite to eat. You've all done tournaments maybe, so you know that's plenty of time, and quite frankly you don't want to take an hour out for lunch most of the time. You just want to get on with the next game. So George has given a breakdown here. So all rules from Blood Bowl 2020, Teams of Legend, FAQ and error, the FAQ. Rules changes from Blood Bowl 2020 if highlighted in red. So here we go. He has added the Beastman team and the Slan team. Doesn't look like Khorne is eligible here, which is interesting. I wonder if George has done that on purpose anyway. But you've got Slan. The other cool thing is that he's got some extras have been changed. So dedicated fans, assistant coach, cheerleaders of all 0 to 3, kegs and 0 to 1. There is a mascot for 50k. Team reroll once per half. Roll a d6 on a 4 to 6. The reroll is used as normal. On a 1 to 3, the reroll is lost for the half. So you can pay 50k up to once, get a mascot, and on a 4+, it gives you a reroll. Rerolls are huge in 7s, so that's definitely worth considering. 0 to 3 bribes there. He's got the reduced cost. Snotlings are listed, so I'm assuming that's going to be fine. Did we see Snotlings? Snotlings are a stunty team. That's pretty cool. Master Chef can be taken. Riotous Rookies can be taken. Got all the costs there, which is brilliant. So he's got rules there for pairings. He's got tournament points. In this one, it's going to be 5 points for a win. If there it does have to be a bye, it's 5 points as well. Draws are 2 and losses are 1 point. Concessions are -1 point. So I like that. All casualties are caused to the opponent due to blocks, including ball and chain, chainsaw, a stab, fouls, crab pushes as well. Love that. You guys know that we're a big fan of if a casualty is suffered in my turn, it's my points as long as it's your team. Sometimes our team as well. Just great fun. So post-match, got the standard prizes. 1, 2, 3, stunty, best offense, best defense, most violent, most encouragement. Not sure what that one is, but on board with that. And other prizes depending. So what we really want to have a look at is got rules for the series, which is cool. We'll probably have to do an episode on that. I want to kind of get George on and have a little chat with him. There was 2 cool things to talk about. So there is a new weather table, a new kickoff table, and we also kind of need to look at the Beastman roster real quick as well. So weather, they've done it so that it's kind of to do with Sydney's weather. There's an alternate weather chart here, so scorching, blinding, torrential rain, raging storm, and there is a separate kickoff result as well. Now, we've talked a couple of times about Blood Bowl 7s and the kickoff chart. Old 7s had its own kickoff chart. I think from looking at it, new 7s uses just the Blood Bowl 2020 chart, but if it says D3+3, it's just D3+1 instead. George has got his own one here. He got Sinbin, Rowdy Fans, Offensive Shift, Timeout, Team Chant, Special Play, Grubber Kick, Defensive Rush, and Get the Ref. So there's a load of cool stuff there. I do recommend you have a look at the rule set. It's just a really creative angle, and I love it. So the Slan is a NAF team, and the Beastman he's included as well, which I love. And this is from Fumble. So you got Beastman linemen, you got Beastman runners, Centaurs, Beastman blockers, and a Minotaur. So you can actually play a different team that's only normally eligible on Fumble in this tournament. So that's going to be quite cool for a watch out as well. That wraps up February's monthly meta. We've got 2-star models coming. And I don't know, maybe we'll get a team. Maybe we'll get a spoiler of a team anyway. We're kind of happy for the time being. We've got a new edition. We've got all these new teams to play with. None of them are painted. We've seen some tournaments already, which is cool. We've got 3 varied ones coming this month. I cannot wait to see the results of the 7s competition. It's nice to see people branching out. We're seeing the stat buy. We're seeing random skills come in. We're seeing a different team be brought in. And we're seeing Blood Bowl 7s being played as well. This is starting to be a really great year for competitive Blood Bowl. And that's really, really, really exciting. I am just over the moon. So, what we need to do soon is update the power rankings. We'll probably do that next month. But in the meantime, guys, let us know. Put in the comments below if there's a tournament coming up in the next couple of months you want us to have a look at, what you think, and what you think of these formats, and what you think of the teams and how they're performing. Because this is just the start of Season 2. I'm going to disappear now, but we'll be back again soon with more Blood Bowl content. Thank you ever so much for watching. Stay safe. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.